This is the website that you'll be scraping. So there are a few prerequisites. So the first thing is that you need to have at least basic knowledge of Python, and you also need to have basic knowledge of HTML and CSS and how websites work. So you need to have enough knowledge to be able to identify tags and their meanings. And then you also need to have Jupyter Notebook installed. So for this, I'll recommend that you install it using Anaconda Navigator. So this is like a package that contains a lot of tools that are used for data science. So in it you can find PyCharm, you can find VS Code, as well as Jupyter Notebook. So to be able to install it, you just come to this website and you'll find all the instructions for how to install it. But if it gives you any issues, you can always leave a comment down below, or you can check YouTube videos for how to install them. Yeah, and then you also need to install the request and beautiful soup libraries, but those are Python. So after you're done installing a Jupyter Notebook, you'll open it, and then you'll find an interface like this. So to create a new notebook where you'll be working from, you just come to this top right side and you click on new and you select Python 3. Yeah, and that's it. So it will open for you a notebook like this one, and then you'll come up here and you can just rename it to whatever name you want. So this is mine. I made this just so that I don't forget anything. The first thing you need to do when you're doing web scraping is to actually understand the structure of the website that you want to scrape. So that's what you're going to start by doing here. So this website, it has, on the left side, you can see there are some navigation links, which are the categories of the different books. So if I click on one of them, the classics, these are all the books that are in the classics category. Yeah, so, and then for this page, you can see it shows 1,000 results showing 1 to 20, which means this page, it has 20 books. So when you scroll in the bottom, we can check how many pages it has, and it has 50 pages. So 50 pages, and each page having 20 books, that is 1,000 books. So we are going to scrape 1,000 books today. Yeah, so this is the structure of this website. So if you want to dig deeper and look at the code, you can click on Control Shift I, or you can just right click on anywhere on the site and you click on Inspect. So sometimes this code, it may come maybe below, it may come like down here instead of on the side. So if that happens to you, or maybe it's in a position that you don't really like, you just come here on this side of the code and click on these three dots, and then you'll select either of these depending on where you want it to appear. So if I select down, it comes down. Then I'll come back here and select right. So I want it to be on the right, so that when you select code, you can actually see what it corresponds to on this other side. Yeah, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to install the two libraries, that is requests and beautiful soup. So to install the libraries, we'll just do an exclamation, then pip install requests, that is for the request library. And then for the beautiful soup library, it will also be the same, pip install beautiful soup. So you have to remember that Python is case sensitive, so you make sure that everything you're typing in is exactly how it should be, otherwise you'll get errors. So I won't run my code because I already have it installed. So after typing it in, you just press Shift Enter and it will run the cell, and the libraries will be installed. So you run them one by one, don't run them all together. You first install requests and then install beautiful soup. So after doing that, we will import these libraries. We are going to import all the libraries that we will use for this project. So the first one, of course, is the ones you have just installed. And by the way, Python comes already pre-installed with Jupyter Notebook, so you don't need to install it. So we'll import requests, and then we'll also import beautiful soup. So you do from bs4 import beautiful soup. So you have to be careful with the uppercase and lowercase so that you don't get errors. And then we'll also import CSV because we'll save our data as CSV at the end. And then we'll import pandas because we'll first convert our data into a pandas data frame and then save it as CSV, and then we'll import time because later on I want to see how long it took us for the whole scraping process. Yeah, so after you import everything you're going to use, you press Shift Enter and it will run the cell. So the next thing you're going to do is get the URL and then you send a GET request. So we'll create a variable called URL, and then because it's a string we have to put the quotes. So URL is equals to, and then let me go back home. So we will copy this URL. You take the URL and then you copy it there. It's actually just supposed to be books2scrape.com. And then with this URL we can send a GET request to the website. So a GET request is a way for your web browser to ask a server for information. So it's the same as asking someone for directions to a place. So you give them the name of the place, in this case it's our URL, and then they give you back information about it. So in this case it's the HTML code for the web page. So we'll create a variable called response, which will store the response that you get from the website. So this is where the request library comes in. So it will be response is equals to request dot get function, and then you put in the URL between the brackets. So when we run this, we won't actually know if it has worked or not. So for you to be able to check if it has worked, there is something in websites called the status code. So a status code of 200 shows that your request to the website has been successful. So that's what we are going to check. So if the response dot status underscore code is equals to 200, we are going to print response successful. Yeah, and then else, so make sure you get the indentation correctly, otherwise you'll get an error. We print request failed. Oh, this should be request successful, not response. So it's request successful, request failed. So when we run this, if the request was successful, that means the website gave us a status code of 200, then it means our request was successful and we can go on with our scraping. But if not, it can give us something like 400 or 44. That means it was not successful. So when we run this, it shows us that the request was successful, which means we were able to reach that server and it has given us back a good response, so we can continue with our scraping. So after that, the next thing we'll do is pass the HTML content using the beautiful soup library. So we'll create a soup object to pass the HTML. So we'll just call it soup is equals to, so you be careful with the case. So response dot text, so dot text will give us the text in the content, and then we also specify the parser that we want to use. So it will be the HTML parser. So the HTML parser, it's a built-in parser that comes with the Python standard library. So this is the parser we'll be using to parse the HTML code that we have downloaded from the page. So when we run this, you run it using Shift plus Enter. So there were no errors, which means it was successful. So if you want to see the HTML, you can print it out. You just print soup and you'll be able to see the HTML code. Yeah, so this is the HTML code that you have gotten from that website. So if you compare this code to the code that on the website, you'll find that it is exactly the same. Yeah, so you can see here, this is the left navigation, the links that are on that side. So there's travel, mystery, all that, all to the end. So we have successfully passed that information. So the first thing we're going to do, we are actually going to scrape information from the 20 books that are on page 1, and then if that works, we'll create a loop for scraping all the other pages. You just scroll down until you see the first books, and then we'll click on this arrow. Here on this code side, there's this small arrow next to this tablet icons or something. So we'll click on that, and then as you hover over the elements on these books, you'll be able to see the code that corresponds to it. So as we hover here, you can see this image tag. You can already see it corresponds to this image source that's here. And then for the title, you can see it's inside an anchor tag, which is again inside a h3 tag. So we would like to find like these books, which tag contains this book. So when you can see here, we can see the whole of this page, it's under this section tag. So for example, let's just go with this first book. So I'll just click on it and it shows me. So these books, they're in an ordered list. So you can see even here that it shows ol.row. So it's in an ordered list, but this ordered list, it's also inside something else. So when you click on this ordered list, it expands and it shows us the list. So this first list is for the first book, second list is for the second book, and so on. So we continue scrolling. The third list is for the third book, and so on. So we want to expand this first list so that you can see the details of that first book. So when you expand this list, you can see inside it there's an article tag. So this article tag, it contains this book. So this article tag with the class of product pod, it contains the book. And then when you come again to the second list tag, which represents the second book, when you expand it again, we can see it also has another article tag with the same class as the first book, which means all of these books, they are all inside a list tag and inside an article tag with a product class. So when you expand this article tag for the first book, you can see it has a div tag which contains the book image. Yeah, it contains the book image. So if you want to extract the book image, you will come and use the anchor tag that is within this div tag. And then when you expand this paragraph tag, it's the one that has this star ratings. So I think by now you're getting the gist. And then when you expand this h3 tag, it's the one that has the title of the book and also a link that leads to more information about the book. Yeah, and then when you expand this div tag, you can see the price is inside a paragraph tag, and then the in-stock availability is also inside another paragraph tag. So when you click on the title, it is a link. So it leads us to this page which has more information about the book. So for this, I want to extract the book title, the category of the book. So those are those categories that we saw earlier on the left side. We also want to extract this rating, this star rating, and also want to extract this in stock, how many of them are available in stock, as well as the price. So for when you go back to the home page, you can see that for these books, most of this information is actually just here on this first page. You don't need to go inside the book details to get it. So all this information is here except for the book category. So for the book category, we can get it by clicking on this title. So when you click on this title, when you scroll, you can see the book category is not mentioned anywhere in this book details, except for on top here on these navigation links you can see there's home, books, then poetry. So we need to be able to extract all that information together with the book categories, because say for example after extracting all this data I need to do some analysis on it, so it won't make sense to not have the book category. So we need to find a way to extract also this book category for each book, and as you can see there are so many categories, so we have to make sure we extract each book with its category. So the first thing we're going to do is to find, we are going to extract these books. We are not going to extract them from this like first page. We are going to have to write a program that will click on this link, and then now it will extract the information from within this product details page together with this category. Again, if you come to this second one, you can see here that this anchor tag is within this h3 tag. So we need to find all h3 tags because they contain the title. So we'll come here and then we'll type in books is equals to soup.findAll, and then you type in h3. So the find all method is used to find all the matching elements, and it returns them as a list. But if you used find, it will return only the first matching element. So we'll write a for loop that will go in and it will extract all the information we want. So we'll write for book in books, and then the book URL, because each title it has a link embedded to it. So the book URL will be equal to the book dot find. So the find function, it will find the first anchor tag, and then it will grab the href attribute from that anchor tag. So if you go back here to this site, you can see each anchor tag it has a href attribute, and within that href attribute it also has the title attribute, and then we have now the title itself here. Yeah, and then the next thing we're going to do is after we get the URL, we are supposed to get the response from that URL. So the book response is equals to the request.get, just like we had done earlier, request.get, and then we need to find this the URL of this page plus the book URL. So what this means is that this response will be sending a get request to this URL that we found up here, which is bookstoscrape.com, and then stroke the continuing URL will be the URL that contains the title of the book or the book itself. So it will be the URL plus the book URL, and then we'll also create a soup object for it. So it will be book underscore soup is equals to beautiful soup, and then brackets, and then it will be book response dot content. This is just a way of getting that the HTML code, and then we'll pass it to the HTML parser that we are using, which is the HTML dot parser. Yeah, so when we run this, it will get the HTML code of that for the first book. So in our case, our first book will be A Light in the Attic. So it will get this URL for this book. So when I click on this is actually the link that is in here in this book response. So it will be requests. The requests will be sent to this specific URL for this book. So it will do that for each book. So it will send, and then it will pass that HTML code through this book soup object that you have created. So if you want again to see the HTML code, you can print book soup and you'll be able to see the HTML code. So the first thing we want to extract is the title of the book. So the title is equals to, we'll use book_soup.find, then we put brackets. So we want to find the tag that has the book title. So when you come back here, you've already clicked on the title, so we'll click on this again so that it can take us to this title. So you can see up here it shows that it is within a h1 tag. So when you click on this and you come here to this side, it shows that the title is within a h1 tag. So we'll use the book_soup.find and then put h1 tag and then .text so that you can get the text that is in it. So it will be h1 and then .text. So that will give us the title of the book. And then we go to next. We want to get the book category. So for the book category, we'll come up here and then we'll click on this and then we'll come up here. So this is the book category. It's up here on this navigation links, and you can see that it is inside an anchor tag. So when you click on this, you can see this anchor tag. It is within a list, and this list, it is within an unordered list. So when you expand this first list tag, it is for the home. The second list tag, it is for the book. So you can say that this link, this category, the link for this category, it is inside this unordered list tag and in the class of breadcrumbs. So this is what you're going to use, and then you're going to use indexing to find this list tag. So indexing in Python, it starts from 0. So for home, it will be index 0, and then books will be index 1, and then poetry will be index 2. So when you go back here to our code, we will write book underscore soup.find, and then we will write, we saw that it was inside an unordered list tag, and then the class was breadcrumbs. So we'll write class underscore, and the reason we do this is because class is actually a keyword in Python. So if we don't use the underscore, it will give us an error because Python will interpret it differently. So we have to use the underscore so that we don't use it as a keyword. Is equals to, so to find this class, it's here. So you just double click here and then you copy the class. So just to make sure you do it correctly and you don't get any error. So you'll put the quotes, and then the class is equals to breadcrumb, and then we are going to find all, because we want to find all the list tags. As you can see, it is under an ordered list, but it is inside a list tags, and there are several of them. So our list tag is the third one. So we need to use find all, because as you remember earlier, find all, it returns all the matching elements. So we need to find all those elements, and then we index until we find the one that we want. So it will be dot find all, and then it is inside an a tag, and then it will be, it's the third element. So as you know, the indexing in Python, it starts with 0. So we want the a tag that is in the third place. So this will be 0, this will be 1, and then 2 is the one which will have the category that we want. So that is 2, and then you also do dot text so that it can extract the text for us, and then dot strip just to remove any extra spaces that may be there. And then the next thing you're going to do is find the rating. So the rating I'm talking about is this star rating. So we'll again click on this arrow here, then you come here. So we can see that this rating, it is enclosed inside a p tag, a paragraph tag. So when you expand this paragraph tag, it has small I tags here, but the actual rating is found in the p tag. So when you come up here to the p tag, we can see that it has two classes. It has the first class, which is, you can see here it's p.star rating. So the first class is star rating class, which is just CSS for styling, but the one that the actual rating we want is the class that is 3. So that is what we're going to extract. So in this section again, we'll use indexing because there are two classes here, but we don't want the first class. We want the second class that has the actual rating. So we'll use this p tag, and then we will index to find our class, our rating from that class. So it will be book_soup.find brackets again. So it was inside a paragraph tag, and then the class, as usual, don't forget the underscore, is equals to, the class is equals to the star rating, which is the class that you had seen earlier. And then we need to access the class attribute of it, and then we'll access the second element in that class. So the second element in this class is the one that will give us the actual rating of the book. So with this, it's going to extract 3 for us. And then the next thing you're going to get is the price, which is equals to book_soup.find. And then we come back here and we go to the price. So we'll select the price again, and you can see the price is in the price color class. So I'll just click on this, and then I'll double click on the class, and then you can copy the class. So you make sure you put the quotes, you copy the class, and then you put .text so that it can give you just the text, and also strip just to remove any extra spaces that shouldn't be there. Now the next thing you're going to do is look at the availability. The availability, we want to extract this text in stock 22 available. So again, you click on this arrow and you come here, and it shows us it also has two classes inside the paragraph tag. So it has the in stock class and the availability class. So we want the availability class because the in stock class is just for the styling for CSS, but the availability class is the one that actually has the text that you're looking for. So when you click on this, we'll come here and we'll just pick the availability class only. So we'll write book_soup.find, and then you can, it was also inside a p tag, and then you don't forget the class underscore equals to availability, because it is the one that has the text that you're looking for. So again, we do .text.strip. We've just seen I've made an error here. We've not included the p tag and specify that this is a class underscore equals to that. We'll come and print so that you can see the output. So it will be a formatted string. So this will be title, and then you put the curly braces and you put the variable in, and you make sure you close the quotes. So we'll do the same for all those elements that you have extracted. It will be a formatted string. So the next one is category, then you put curly braces, which is category. You make sure all the quotes are there. And then the next one is print, be a formatted string as well, and then it's rating, and then the next one will be the price, The next one will be the availability. We put the formatted string again. So availability, and then availability. Make sure you put the end quote, and then you delete the extra one. Yeah, and then after that we want to put a separator, just so that you can see clearly what's being printed. So I'll put a few of these stars, and then we'll run this code just to make sure that it has worked the way we want. So you do shift enter and it will start extracting the information for you. So here I have a type error in the rating, so I think it's with this class. So let's go back to the rating, and then when you come here, the rating is, it's actually star dash rating, but I've put an underscore. So that's why it's important for you to copy it directly. So let me also check price color just in case. That's an underscore. Yeah, so you come back and you run this again. So I'll advise you to run this code when you're using mobile data or very like Wi-Fi with very high bandwidth. Otherwise you'll get an error and you'll think that you've written something wrongly, and yet it's just the network that's bringing issues. So when you run this, it starts extracting. So you'll scroll down. The very last one that has been extracted is the title. It's only the Himalayas travel and the price. So you can scroll to the very bottom and see it has extracted everything. There should be 20. So the last one is it's only the Himalayas, which is also what is here. So it has done that very well. So after creating the empty list where all the book information will be stored, now it's time for us to look through all the 50 pages. So we'll create a for loop and also use the range function so that you'll be able to loop through. So we'll read for each page number. Like we saw earlier, we had 50 pages, so it is for each page number in the range. So if you know Python, you know that the range function, it is not inclusive. That means that it does not include the last number that you put in. So that's why you're putting 51, because the range function, if you put 51, it will reach until 50. So if we had put 50, it would have only extracted until page 49. So that's why we need to put 51, so that it extracts all the pages. So it is for page num in range 1 to 51. The URL, it will be a formatted string. So the URL you are going to use, we come back here to this page. We just close this code for now. We come back to this page. So if you want to see the URL for the structure of the URL for the pages, we'll just come to the bottom and click on next, so that you can go to the next page. So this is the format or the structure for the URL for the pages. So we'll just copy that, and then we'll come back here. So this will be a formatted string because we want that as the loop runs, it replaces with the page number. So we'll just paste it here, but here where there is 2, we'll actually put curly braces and put page num, so that as it loops through the pages, this page num here will be replaced. So as it goes for page 1, here page num will be replaced by 1, page 2, and so on until it finishes. And as usual, we need to send a get request to the URL. So it will be response is equals to requests.get, and then we specify the URL. And then the next thing, of course, is creating the soup object. So here we'll just use soup is equals to beautiful soup, and then it will be response dot content. So this is just to get the HTML, it's content, not context, and then we specify the parser that you have been using. So it's HTML dot parser. There's actually another parser called LXML, but I think I just prefer using this one. So again, we'll find all the book titles and their links like we had done before. So for this section, because we had already done this for the page one, you can just copy and paste that code. After it has extracted all this information, you are going to append it to this empty list that you created up here. So it will be, our list is called books data dot append. The append method is the one that will be used for this. Then we create a list of everything that will be extracted. So it will be title, category, rating, and then price, and then availability. So we have to include all of them here inside this list, and then we can print this. After it has finished extracting, we can print books underscore data, just to see it the way it is. So when you print that, and then you print, I'll put the asterisks again so that you can see a distinction between the different books. Then I also print the time taken, so it will be a formatted string. If you want, you can print your list out later, or you want, you can print it out now. So let me just do it. This will take a bit of time. So after that has completed, we'll export our list into a data frame. So let me just write that code as we wait for this to finish extracting. So we'll create a data frame. Our data frame will be called df is equals to pd dot data frame. So here you also be careful with the spelling. It's in title case, so a capital D and a capital F. Then you put brackets and then the list that you want to convert. So our list was called books data, and then the columns that will be in that data frame, you put that square brackets, and then you type in the name of the columns. They have to be in quotes. Title, then the other one was category, and then the other one was, we've actually forgotten, the rating, the price, and the availability. So this column will be rating, the next column will be price, and then the next column will be, our final column will be the availability. Yeah, so after that we are going to print this data frame and display the first 10 rows. So we can do a print. You can either display the first 10 rows, or you can even just display a sample. So it will be df dot, use the head function, and then we put 10 inside. So after this is done running, we can again run this and it will show us the data. And then if everything is good, so now we can save it in a CSV. So you'll just click outside this cell and you press B and it will insert a cell below. So for this is will be saving to CSV. So it's always good to comment on your work so that when you come back later, you actually know what you're doing. So we'll take our data frame dot to underscore CSV method, and then we'll give our CSV file a name. So I'll call mine books underscore script dot CSV, and then you put the index is equals to false, because sometimes this pandas, it adds for you an extra column and you don't want it to go in our data. So if everything goes well, it will print for us data saved to book script .csv. When I open my file, I can see this is all the information we extracted. So I don't expect, like, I know we didn't go through all the 50 pages like manually, but I don't expect any column to have any like empty values or missing values, because all the books, I'm assuming, had all the information that were needed. So just to confirm that these are actually 1,000 records, we'll click on the first cell and click Control End, and it will take you to the last cell. So it is 1,001 minus the header row. Those are 1,000 records, which means we have successfully extracted all the information we need. So you just press Control Home and we'll go back to the first cell. So